Well, everyone, yesterday we started the law of kindling and blowing out a fire on Shabbat. Um, we saw some of the principles and also a beautiful explanation about why fire was singled out in Parshas Vayakhel. So we'll continue with this. So just as it is prohibited by Torah law to kindle a new fire, it is also prohibited by Torah law to increase a pre-existing flame. The law on Yom Tov is different. While one may not kindle a new fire, then either one may turn up an existing flame. On Shabbat, however, one may not even raise a flame. For example, one may not increase the flame on a gas burner by turning the knob controlling the gas flow. Likewise, one may not increase the flow of kerosene to a heater or in order to raise the flame or add oil to burning to a burning lamp on Shabbat. So I know that there's still a lot of people, especially in the Mennonite and Amish communities, that have a kerosene lamp. Um, for us, that's not as common, but we're leading into the question about reading to the light of a candle of Shabbat candles. Um, Not only because of we're not allowed to enjoy them like the lights of Hanukkah, but also because of this fear that we will forget and make the flame a bit larger. Similarly, one may not stoke coals since this intensifies a fire. The reason why it's in Kritut, which talks about the excommunication of somebody breaking quite a few laws, I think there's 36 Kritut, is because deliberately breaking Shabbat is correct, and if there are witnesses, it's an execution by the court. But Kritut is through Hashem's punishment, and we don't really understand always why certain things happen, but that's why it's there. Likewise, one may not open the door of a wood-fired oven because doing so allows air to enter the oven and fan the embers, thus increasing the fire. And maybe it's even more practical with a barbecue. If the oven door is already open or there is fire in an enclosed area, such as a fireplace, one may not open a window or door facing the fire because a strong wind may enter and fan the flames. If there is no breeze, one may open the door or window. When an oil lamp is on the table, one must try to avoid shaking the table because the oil may move closer to the wick and increase the flame, a violation of Havara. However, if it is a wax candle, which is a lot more common nowadays, on the table, or if the oil lamp has a floating wick, he does not need to worry that shaking the table will cause the flame to increase. Um, so a lot of people still do light Shabbat candles with a floating wick, and so it's different because the oil, even if it moves, doesn't change the flow to the wick. So let's go into the Kindle reading by candlelight. And the the Talmud tells us that there was a story about I think Rabbi Ishmael who said that he is sure that he will not tilt the candle. We're talking about the old oil candles that were. I couldn't find a proper picture because it's they're all in archaeological digs, but I'll share it later. Um, so Rabbi Ishmael said, I'm going to sit by the candlelight and not tilt. And of course, he forgot and tilted in order to read something that was not very clear. And so Aniya Kravilate is like basically what we would jokingly call famous last words. The sages ordained that one may not read by the light of an oil lamp on Shabbat, lest the flame become dim and the reader absent-mindedly tip the lamp so that more oil reaches the wick, thus transgressing the Torah prohibition of Havara. To be sure, the sages also ordained the kindling of Shabbat lamps, but this serves a different purpose. Shabbat candles are meant to provide light for the meal, not for careful examination of text, and to allow one to walk around in his home without bumping into furniture. In contrast, the sages forbade doing things that require careful examination by lamplight out of concern um, that in such a case, one might end up tipping the lamp in order to see better. One who wishes to study Torah uh, by the light of an oil lamp should ask a friend to keep him company to ensure that he will not tilt it. Alternatively, he may learn together with a friend so that they can look out for each other. Many poskim maintain that the lone individual may read by the light of a wax or paraffin candle because there's no concern that he will tilt the candle. So again, that is a lot more practical today. Unlike an oil lamp, where the point of tilting is to move oil up the wick to the flame, the wax in a candle is attached to the wick and already close to the flame, so tilting would serve no purpose. Similarly, there is no concern that one might come to adjust the wick, since candles burn well on their own, and there is no need to adjust them at all once they are lit from before Shabbat. So, by the way, Havdalah candle is not mentioned here because Havdalah candle is only done for Havdalah. So, when there's two wicks, sometimes people, like myself, tilt it in order to have the fire catch on both wicks, and so, but that's why it's not mentioned. So let's conclude with an electric lamp. An individual may study by the light of an electric lamp, even if only one of the two bulbs in the lamp is turned on, and even when the intensity of the light can be adjusted by means of a dimmer. The ordinance regarding oil lamps was because of concern that if the light grew dim, one may tilt the lamp to restore the light. There is no such concern with electrical light because once you sit by the light and it's good enough for you to read, then even if there is a dimmer, you're not going to use it. Since electric lights do not grow dim, we are not concerned that one may turn on an additional light or turn up the existing one. Nevertheless, the chatchila, it is advisable to cover the dimmer knob with a note that says Shabbat, so that no one will accidentally adjust the light. And maybe one last halacha that is not mentioned here in terms of muktzeh. If somebody has like a tree lamp that has like 4 or 5 different lights and they're all on, you are allowed to move them to the direction that you want, whether to make it lighter or darker, because again, you're not turning it on or off. And we discussed, if you remember, about the Shabbos clock, that those knobs, those pegs are muktzah according to one opinion, but most rabbis say that it's not, and so that's why it is allowed to adjust it, but not change the actual light. So we'll stop here. We'll open up for questions.